All right, you guys, welcome back to Hope Ignited for our most dressy episode ever.
Yeah. Had to knock all the mothballs out of my jacket.
Bunch of moth holes. Big moth hole guy.
No, since COVID, we don't really dress up quite as much anymore. Guys don't really wear suits and ties as much. I kind of like that, actually.
Well, I was going to say, it's been a joy and a pleasure to not have to worry about it. Kind of the return to galas, the return to luncheons hasn't been fun for most people, but I was actually really excited. I do think it's important that people realize that we decided to dress like this about 3 hours ago.
Yeah, incredible. You were on an airplane last night coming back from Seattle at midnight or something like that? You got home?
Time delay.
And they were like, hey, Ashley, I got this idea. Maybe we should do this for the intro. And you were such a good sport.
I mean, I just had this in my closet. Who doesn't have this?
And then she just knocks out this full, gala regale.
Yeah, it's giving Bridgerton, actually. We need a side-by-side of Bridgerton. I look like this is
I've not seen Bridgerton yet. Everyone keeps talking about it.
This is me judging you. Like right now, I'm judging you.
Are you for real, though? You think that's something I would like? Because it sounds like...
No, 100% I don't think you will like it.
The British maids from the 1800s that everyone was talking about all the time.
I don't.
What is it? No, not Handmaid's Tale. The one where they were all they worked in a house. Come on, this is terrible. They were working in a house in the 1800s, and it was like the butlers and the maids and all that. Oh my gosh, somebody in our audience is screaming right now.
100 million % you're making it up. But I don't think you would like Bridgerton, but I do think you at least need to take a peek into the imagery of this season because she's kind of gone to this type of a look. So we'll have to do a side-by-side of that. Right. But speaking of look, here's the thing. So we are going to preview our guest here in just a little bit, but we were blessed to have the opportunity to sit down with Tori Bradburry, and she has an insane jewelry line. She's the most fashionable person I know, and it's effortless, right? So we just thought, what an opportunity for us to step it up and dressed up a little bit. And the funny thing is, we were talking about what are times in our life where we've been the most dressed up, and homecoming and prom was the answer.
Right.
So here we are.
Yeah.
Happy prom.
Happy prom. Thank you for telling me that because little 16-year-old Kevin in Abilene, Texas, shout out to my Abilene Wiley Bulldogs.
The two of them that are watching.
Yeah, the two are, if they are, thank you.
They have no television. A television is a place where you can watch.
No, they're not. They were not. Back in the day, it was in the 90s. Yeah. Not the 1890s, as Ashley would have you think.
Your TV show.
Age. But back in the 90s, we didn't have social media. So, it was kind of a big deal to get dressed up, and you had the once a year, and getting a limo was the big deal. But we didn't really have any reference point for all the things you're supposed to do. You just kind of were told you get a limo, you get a mum for the girl.
Mum is the word.
She gets you a corsage or whatever, and you maybe go to dinner or something, but we didn't really know anything more than that. So we didn't have much to do, but I couldn't afford any of it. We were so broke at this point. So sad little Kevin never got to go to the prom. There were a couple girls I would have asked, but I couldn't afford. I would have been like, can you get on the back pegs on my bike and I'll take you, to the prom.
The irony in this is number one, I did not know that. That makes me very sad.
It's horrible.
But
dark spot in my life.
Without even knowing your sad prom life, I wanted you to have something to make you feel extra special, actually.
Okay.
I couldn't show up as the homecoming queen without giving you something, which is actually now it's kind of perfect because you had a very sad homecoming prom life. I wanted you to have your very own crown.
Oh my gosh.
This is for you.
Is this a crowning? Am I the prom king?
You're going to save us from aliens, and you're the prom king.
Am I the prom king?
It's so
and
good.
I get 5G. Wow.
It makes me want a Whopper real bad.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, Ashley, you didn't really calculate my circumference of my head. Ashley, thank you for this amazing crown.
You look like where the wild things are.
Yours looks real.
It is real. It's real.
Where did you get that?
Well, it was really bestowed upon me. It's not real diamonds, but no. So this was I was the homecoming queen.
You were the homecoming queen?
Yeah, I graduated.
Of course you were.
I didn't go.
Queen. I didn't even go because I couldn't afford $50 for a month. And you're the queen, the homecoming queen.
This is why people listen to our podcast because we're so different.
Well, congratulations. I don't mean to sound jealous. I'm very happy for you. I have a crown too, in case you didn't notice.
But in Louisiana, homecoming is a much bigger deal than prom.
Yeah.
I don't know. It seems like it's opposite here. Like it seems like, can I tell, Texas is wild about prom. Have you seen like promposals or a thing? That was not a thing for me.
Oh, okay. Thanks for, I've had a chip on my shoulder for a while. So just FYI, I have a daughter who is now actually she turned 21 today.
Yeah. Happy birthday, Ellie. We love you. Happy birthday.
We love you. I went through this. I went through a couple of the prom, experiences and stuff as a dad, the cliche cleaning the shotgun, as a little kid comes running up and all that. But anyway, I could not believe when I started hearing more and more about all these ridiculous things that the kids have to do. I feel so bad for them now. The promposal thing, it's more work than I did for my marriage proposal.
And they're expensive, and like you have to one up somebody. You can't do something that's already been done. You have to film it. If you don't post it didn't happen. I've seen some. Can I tell you one that's sweet though that I do think would be like our piano teacher? Hello, Mrs. Steven. We love Lindsay. Her son, they actually did a really good one. So we were over for a piano lesson one night and she was like, hey, tonight's the night that my son is going to ask, his girlfriend, who we happen to know, the girl's mother, Yvonne Gorman Brown. Shout out to Yvonne. Yeah. She's fantastic. Covered us in a local publication here and did a fantastic job telling the story. Interview. So shout out to Lindsay and to Yvonne. But long story short, they basically, you'll love this. They did a Batman cutout. Yeah. And the girl came out of her house and he was standing there in a Batman suit and the song plays and then the flashlight shines up and it's the logo and it's the Batman logo and it's like, will you go to prom with me?
Wow.
That's cool. Cool.
It's cool.
Probably also made out of foil.
It's cool. However, what if she said no?
I mean, then you don't post the video.
But we see these videos. I don't know if they're outliers, but can you imagine doing all that work and you have this girl that you have a crush on and, you get whatever you get like a skywriting plane with smoke and all that, and you have a marching band and like a Ringling Brothers Circus. That's still
George Strait comes in to sing "Will You Go?" Check yes or no.
You have a little stage over on the side, and George comes walking out. And he performs.
Yeah, I've never seen a no. Have you seen a no?
Yes, I have. I've seen like people get rejected essentially I've seen, because those are the videos that kind of emerge. But I was going to say, like, even if a girl was in that terrible situation, would she just kind of be like, yeah, and get off camera and then say no? You lie. You lie, right?
100% you lie in the moment.
Well, that's horrifying.
But that's what you do.
That's what I mean. I feel so bad for the kids having to do that.
I'm definitely lying if George Strait's there. I would literally be like, yes, I will go to prom with you and with you.
Mid-sentence. Yeah. He's like, I'm out of here.
Yeah, I'm lying. I'm
no good.
I might marry the guy that brought in George Strait for me. I'm not gonna lie about that. But no, I mean, I think it's over the top.
The mom thing.
Mums. That was not a thing for us. That was just not a thing. Like literally, we had the flower, the flower on the wrist and the flower here. Yes, that's exactly what it was. No, literally, just the flower on your wrist and the flower right here. That's it. Like, we did not have this crazy.
That's reasonable.
I do remember, like,
first time I ever wished I'd lived in Louisiana.
Wait, well, there you go.
Sorry to our Louisiana fans. Sorry. I didn't mean
Wait
that.
till football season. It won't be the last. No, but we literally, I do remember sitting like on the side of the football field and the mothers would put like flowers on our chairs to decorate the chairs, but never did I wear it around my neck like Flava Flav. Yeah. Never was it delivered via helicopter. Like, it's insane. Like, they are breaking their necks. Their heads are falling off because these mums are so big and heavy.
The mums are... I've seen somewhere a girl, we'll put some pictures up because I was actually looking at this earlier. There are mums where a girl has to stand on a ladder for it to be longer than her.
Well, I can relate to that.
Well, no, I mean, yeah.
Me and Spud Webb actually. Shout out Spud.
I got you a 3-foot mom, Ashley. You get up on the ladder so it didn't drag the floor.
I mean, quite literally more than half my body. I just think it's so silly, inexpensive. Here's the thing though, who pays for the mom? Because if the boy's having to do the promposal, is the mom paying for the 27-foot mom?
The mom,
or does the boy? Mom pays for the mom. Now it's a Bluey episode. Mom.
My son was saying that, because we were talking about this as a family, and he was saying that he's helped some guys out on the posters. like, the promposal posters.
Yeah.
And which I was like, that's the worst thing I could ever imagine asking another teenage boy to do. Like,
hey, man.
But they all have to do that for each other. It's a band of brothers.
What is that conversation?
Anyway,
like, hey, man, on Tuesday night.
Dude, I owe you. This
will you help me draw this achy breaky heart poster inviting this chick to prom?
Can you go get some candy so we can make some bad puns?
Those are the best.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so they do that. And then I'm wondering, like, do people self-construct their own mums? Is that a thing? Do they have a village come together and make a mom?
No, I feel like the moms groups are popping around that time because it's like for $79.99.
Is there a store?
I'll
or
make
is it like
your
an
mom.
Etsy
There's
thing?
a black market for mums.
A black market. Yeah, I've got some ivory and elephant tusk woven into mine.
But if it's your enemy, it's like poison ivy is like intertwined in the mum.
Like a little bit of illegal substances.
All that to say, it's gotten a little out of hand.
It is.
Texas proms are out of hand. But speaking of promposal, I have a proposal for you.
Yeah. Okay. Let's hear this segue.
I think we should talk about Tori.
Oh, there we go. Okay. All
Quite literally, right. I would even
That's
say
why we're here, not to just keep griping about proms.
On my most fashionable day, I could not hold a candle to Tori Bradburry.
What an amazing woman.
I'd really wanted to be intentional about spending time with her. That hour with her really just lifted my spirits. She is so authentically herself. Very much like this outfit of me today. But Tori is unapologetically Tori. Like which
is why she's done so well on social media.
Agreed. I mean, that's why she has the followers that she does. Thousands of women and men, thousands of people that just like fell in love with her spirit, who she is, the fact that she didn't mold to be anything to rise to that. I mean, I think, and she set an open book, like the way that she has shared her family with us, kind of becoming a bonus mom. She's taken us through what it took to be an entrepreneur, like with a business that she was able to successfully sunset. We get into that.
A very successful jewelry business.
Seriously. I mean, she's incredible. And I will say the one thing that before we get into the episode that I do think is important to note is that during this kind of period of time since we filmed with Tori and we had an opportunity just to talk about her amazing family and what it means to be a caregiver to someone that you love. That was something that we all kind of related, we were able to reminisce on that. We could relate to that. Tori's dad did pass away. I was able to sit with Tori that day, or I texted her and I said, just imagine his face when he saw Jesus. I mean, what a powerful moment. But I'll tell you, one of the really cool things that we're so proud to do on this show is to be able to give these vulnerable moments for people to talk about the ones that they love most in the good seasons and the bad. But now what a beautiful way to honor his legacy.
Yeah, life is truly about seasons. Here I am pondering this while I have a aluminum crown on my head.
People take you more seriously.
Please, overlook that, Tori, and anyone who might see this afterward. But really, life is it's just seasons. You go through some seasons that are sad, some seasons that are, joyful, and but celebrating a good man's life like his is always something we want to do. So we just want to say that we are very sorry that for the loss of their family, and we want you to know that to the Bradburry family, we want you to know that we're honored to be a part of that, to be in the midst of this, and just to honor him today with this show. So we are. As you'll see and hear in the episode itself, this was before he passed. So there's a little bit of illusion. It's not a sad episode or anything, but Tori, we love you, and we love your family very much. And you guys are really going to be inspired by this episode today. Yeah. We're really grateful. And we just got to apologize ahead of time for how insane we look right here.
Look, if it brings levity to a situation, Tori lives to shine light. Tori is a light to people. So we hope that this makes you smile. We hope that it fills your heart with joy. We could never hold a candle to you, but we got dressed up and we're trying our absolute hardest, Tori, for you. We love you so much. This crown is
cutting into my forehead. As you can see,
I can't. I tell you what, let's go ahead and introduce our amazing episode with Tori Bradburry. All right, you guys, welcome back to the Hope Ignited table. We are so excited about our guest today. You sound like the Fonz.
Hey.
Can you do a normal hey? It's kind of weird.
No, that's a terrible opening, but we're going to go with it.
We are going to go with it. The other thing we're going to also go with is your squeaky chair.
Yeah, the chair. Can you guys hear that?
A little awkward. Why do you move so much? I feel keep it in the box. You move a lot.
I can't help it. I'm going to move. I mean, that's ridiculous. I don't want to be thinking about that when we have an amazing guest like we have.
Do you have
today.
a complex now that I've said that?
Just a little bit. I mean, if I start shifting like this side to side is a problem. That's actually really bad. That sounds terrible.
Can we get WD-40? We're looking for a sponsorship for Hope Ignited.
From the waist down, I got to just lock in.
Lock it on in.
Give me like a little child seat.
I'm here for it. Okay, well, we literally have a powerhouse guest. I know that you guys had a great opportunity to hear about her in our intro today, but it's a long time coming. You know, we have had an opportunity to do a little bit with NBCF with Tori, but welcome to the studio, Tori Bradburry.
Tori Bradburry.
Hi, thanks for having me. Thank y'all.
No stranger to the camera.
Oh gosh.
I mean, people love you. You're easy to love.
Oh, thank
beautiful inside and out. And it's funny because when we were talking earlier about how do you want us to reference you today? And we were like, content creator, influencer. You were like, look, I don't want to be called an influencer. Let's unpack that a little bit.
I honestly, I have been in this space since it kicked off. The whole influencer community became a thing. Amber Venz is a great friend of mine. She is the founder of LTK. And so when her and her husband decided to create Reward Style, that's when I also had my own business and we all kicked off at the same time. So I got to watch these women become these amazing creators, business women, and then that transitioned into this word influencer. And I have my personal thoughts on it. I just think that it's now it's just used too loosely, in my opinion. Yeah. And but I do respect those who work really hard. I mean, I have some good friends who have made a livelihood out of this and they crush it. Yeah. But for me and all my people know, like the way I answered y'all is the way I would answer anybody else. I'm like, I'm not an influencer.
It's my favorite thing. I think one of my favorite things about you specifically is just like, I know you won't hype you, so I'm going to hype you. Like everything that you do, you lead with integrity. Like your faith is so important to you. Yeah. You love the Lord. Like I feel like that shines through with everything that you do. But I'm going to tell you something. You influence women like me because it's so authentic.
Thank you.
And that's just so like, it's such a vibe to be like a mom, you're a mom. Like, I just feel like you're you and unapologetically so. So like, don't discount that you influence a lot of women, but for the right reasons.
Thank you. That's really kind. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah. I hope you know that and how much we love you. But you know, the time management piece is a big deal. I mean, we are going to unpack a lot of what you do today, but you're a business owner, you're a mom, a sports mom, a soccer mom. We're hearing all these wonderful things today. And you do. I mean, so much of your content, it's so good.
Thank you.
Whether it's like, you know, going hard for somebody in the deer stand while hunting. I thought that was epic.
That was a good video.
But you do also, I mean, I've shopped your LTK. I got the viral outfit at Target, the two-piece suit.
So good.
But how do you do it all?
Honestly, I don't know. I wish I was more consistent because my love is really like my family. So that is like my first priority. And then my jewelry company is my second. And then being able to share my style comes third. And when I feel it, I'm going to do it. I don't really have like a method to it. I wish I did. But when I am going to, you know, share, you know, an outfit that I find or, you know, a style that I put together, it just kind of comes natural. I'm really all over the place, which is why I feel like my Instagram is not one thing. It's family, it's my dad, it's my dog, it's style. So that is what I love. Like it's not just, I really wish I could balance it well. I feel like I'm butchering this answer right now, but I do what I want when I can.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of being able to do it all is the discernment of when to say no and what to prioritize. And I feel like you do a good job of that. Even if your audience or your followers don't see that, it sounds like you're prioritizing the things that matter most to you. And that's probably why you're so successful at what you do. I will just give you a quick nod. My favorite thing about you is like, there's this really great combo of like Target and Gucci slides. So I live for, you know, someone who can accessorize all the things.
Yes, I am a shoe snob more than I am like a bag snob.
Rightfully so.
But I do love like a good thrift find, a Target find, and mixing the high and low.
Yeah.
So that is something that I love. My husband, not so much. It's
okay.
Yeah, but it's
a vibe.
Yeah, it is a vibe. So, and that is something I stay true to. So thank you for saying that, because people, typically a lot of the content creators, they will get poked at as far as, they say yes to anything. I say no more than I ever say yes. And sometimes the money is really good, but it's like, that's not who I am. That's not something I talk about anyways. So I'm not going to start.
Here for it.
You know, it's funny. Speaking of this, I was talking to my neighbor yesterday, and he was telling me about his son. He said his son, I think his son's like 30, and he was a model. He got discovered, and then he kind of turned that into, he's really smart. He's in all this other stuff. He's a physicist. So this guy like hit the genetic lottery.
What does that even mean?
He's a theoretical physicist.
What does that even mean?
Well,
He's
yeah,
real smart.
exactly.
Real
It's
smart.
it's too smart for
A
us
smart
to diagnose.
model. Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, unlike Zoolander, he actually had something going on under the hood. But he was saying basically like one thing led to another, and now he's at the place with his wife where they have this channel and they do all the travel Instagram stuff. And so now they get like hotels offered to him, like trips and everything. And then he got to the point where there were so many cool trips being offered to him for free that that wasn't even enough. They had to say no to that. And so then they're like, oh, okay, well, we'll give you $10,000 to drive around in this RV, for a few days and take pictures. And so now they've converted that into money.
We're not living right. I'm telling you that right now.
I was just going to say, do you have a system for handling that influx, like emails, and you just get hit all the time with DMs and Instagram and stuff like that?
Typically, yes, it happens through on Instagram, but I'm very blessed that I get to be represented by Estate 5. They're a agency, and so my manager she's my right hand, and she's the one that negotiates every deal that comes our way. And because our relationship is so strong, and I love Alex. Hi, Alex.
Shout out.
Yes. She can already answer for me before even talking to me. She knows what's important. And something I do pride myself in is the fact that if I am all things Texas, I'm all things country. I love a good whiskey. And so that is one of my favorite those are my favorite opportunities.
Yeah.
When people come and that, there's country concerts or there's trips, that within Texas, because I live here, and so born and raised. And so anything I can do, especially working with iconic hat brands like American Hat Company, Justin Boot Company, whenever those opportunities come, I get so excited because it's such an honor, because you have the most iconic cowboys wearing, and artists like George Strait's wearing their stuff, and so that is my realm. Like that's what I love. And it's so it's not so much about the most coolest experience. It's something that's been like such an honor as a Texan.
That sort of fits your overall brand.
100%.
Alex knows when it hits those certain things. Like you're going to want to take this opportunity.
Yes. And then sometimes I don't need the money. I mean, sure, money's great, but there's such I'm so relational. And sometimes Alex is like, Tori, they're going to pay you. And I'm like, no, I'll just do it. And she's like, no. Like, this is a business, because I'm so relational. And there are some hard lessons in that too. But at the end of the day, yes, like which is why I have a manager, because I'm not business savvy at all.
You need someone to fight for you a little bit.
I love creating, and I really do consider myself an artist in some ways when it comes to the jewelry and my style. And I rather hand that over to someone who knows what they're doing, because I would do everything for free, which is probably the worst thing I've said ever on a podcast.
No, that's amazing. Yeah. We're going to make sure that you get paid quadruple for everything you do moving forward. You're welcome, Alex. I think that's so great. Entrepreneur to entrepreneur, though. I know you want to dive into that.
I am so fascinated by that because, my family started the National Breast Cancer Foundation. I guess we're coming up on
34 years.
34 years, yeah. And 33 right now, about to be 34. And so the concept of like starting something from nothing, no one believes in it. You've got this vision of what you want to do maybe, but then the work sets in. And, so many people when they're just starting out, they hit that first hurdle and they just can't make themselves get over it. And when you started, you have a beautiful jewelry company called Golden Hour Jewelry Company. And that like I'm fascinated by that. So from an entrepreneurial perspective, like start back to like when you decided you wanted to do it and how you kind of got the momentum going, and then maybe even like some of the challenges that you had to overcome to get it going. Because I know that would inspire a lot of people, especially a lot of like, there's a lot of stay-at-home moms, a lot of people who are creative that are artists, and they're looking for this extension, and they go, well, how could I take what I love and I'm passionate about and turn it into a business?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I do get it often. I receive it with, just like you said, moms that are like, hey, I'm thinking of this. And I'm very reluctant just because, again, like I never want to steer someone wrong, but being vulnerable and being very honest with the challenges is the only thing I can offer them. You know, my sister and I, we had a jewelry company for 10 years and actually almost 13, I believe. And so when we started, it really was just therapy. It was therapeutic. And at the time, I was filming a reality show with my best friend, Courtney. And I was going home to her house, and we're from Denton. So I drive from Dallas to Denton, and we would just create jewelry. And that was really, you know, our kickoff. I was like, what if we really did this? And because we had nothing to lose. And it was right when Instagram also started. So we skipped Etsy. Everyone was on Etsy at the time, and we went straight to Instagram. And so we blew up on Instagram just because it was the new thing. And so we went through a lot of struggles, obviously, and we had a lot of successes as well. I think with us, we were in the storytelling business. So we were hand stamping jewelry at the time. And so people really were drawn to that, where you could create any message and you can wear your story. And so then we transitioned more into trend and accessories. And without really knowing, you really have to stay up to date of what the style is. But at the time, we were like, well, what's our style and who are we? You know, and we love traveling. We love our family. So what does that look like? You know, and so it really allowed us to evolve and take chances and go in blindly. And that was the biggest thing for us, was we have no idea what's going to come of this, but we do know we really are staying true to our style and who we are. And thankfully, people loved it. And that opened up doors to Nordstrom, to Cowboys, to Apple, which we couldn't even imagine.
Yeah, some of my favorite pieces were from your former business.
Thank you.
I still wear my WWJD necklace all the time. My cross necklace was from that collection.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, it was such, again, like, we're from Texas and the Cowboys, you know, it was just such an honor, these huge things that didn't even make sense.
Brands.
Yeah.
Yes, and it was just like, it just blew our minds. We were like, how in the world?
We were blessed.
I mean, so blessed.
And be blessed, yeah.
Yes, and so... And so then we ended up, you know, we decided to close our first business because, you know, I got married, her kids were going off to college, like our season had ended. And I took a year off, and I knew, and I shared with my husband, like, I still have a stir in me. I just don't know what it looks like yet. And a lot of our trips, I was just kind of going back because I journaled everything, and a lot of my time was outside. I love being outside. I love how the golden hour, I just think it's the most prettiest time of day. And that's where the name came.
Oh, yeah.
Not Casey Musgraves.
Not Casey Musgraves, even though I love her. I love that song.
Yeah.
Golden Hour is a great
heck
song.
of a theme song.
Yes.
That was our theory. Yeah.
Yes. And so I love that time of day. And so, and this time I was like, I'm going to focus more on gold pieces because our last was silver, copper. I mean, we had all of the metals, and I really wanted to stay true to now me, because now I only have me, like, you know, that's about to launch this business. And so I took a year off and really decided, okay, like, what will this brand look like? And who am I now without my partner?
Yeah.
So there was a lot of, self-inventory. And again, like, I was terrified. And a girlfriend said, the day I launched, I was terrified because everyone was still, I was like, will I be compared to the last 13 years? Yeah. You know, because me and my sister were the duo. And my friend, and the day I launched, I remember one of my best friends called me and said, congratulations, you've separated it amongst, and she gave me some percentage because she's like a whiz and does all these. And she was just like, you've separated yourself from the amount of people that say they're going to do something from the people that said they're doing it, and you did it. She's like, so you're already ahead of it. She was like, and she was just like, so just sit in that and celebrate that. She was like, you've done it. Yeah. And most people just keep talking, and they'll keep talking about it for a long time. Yeah. And I thought that was beautiful because you're right. There's so many people that are terrified, and I went for it. I'll get choked up thinking about it.
Yeah, but you've done such a good job. And you have to remember too, like you're the hands and the heart of that, right? Like so much of what I personally think makes NBCF successful is like being the hands and the heart of our mission. And we don't waver in who we are.
Right.
You know, not to bring it back to breast cancer, but you know, screening recommendations just changed again, right? Where they were like, now we actually do recommend that women get screened at the age of 40. And we're like, cool, we haven't wavered in that in 34 years.
Right.
Like when other people did say, oh, 50 is acceptable. We were like, no, we stay true to who we are. And that's exactly what you did. And you have to realize that like people are going to follow you. They're proud of what you do. They see your work ethic. You could go sell socks and we're going to follow you. Like I just think because you've stayed true to who you are, it's easy to be a fan of whatever business you have. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Golden Hour, it's such a vibe. It's so good.
Thank you.
It's insane.
I share with a lot of the girls. I'm just like, you know, because some of the people that reach out, like, well, I also want to do jewelry. And my number one thing is like, there's so much space for everybody. Do it. Like I have close friends that have beautiful jewelry lines, and I promote it as well. And I'm just like, there is enough for everyone.
Yeah.
So if you're like, I'm like, if that stir doesn't go away, then you got to go for it.
Yeah.
And that's really like my only advice. Anything else, like it's just, I really feel like it's something you have to walk through and really, do like I said earlier, like self-inventory, but walking through it is the only way to know what you're made of.
Because one way or the other, you're going to be better on the other side.
Exactly.
If you have that mindset of growth through trial and adversity, right?
Oh, of course.
So you get to the end of that, you know, that first business, and I know that those moments in life can be a little bittersweet where you're closing something, but it's opening a new season up, and so I think that you're an inspiration in that regard to that, you know, you just have to take that first step and get going. And I think so many people, we used to call this, I was a business coach years ago, and we used to call it analysis paralysis, whenever you just are frozen in the idea, and you have, a lot of people feel like they have to execute the idea and engineer it all the way through. And, you know, it reminds me of this story I heard years ago where Neil Armstrong was talking about how they got to the moon, and the reporter was asking
did they go to the moon?
And yes.
I'm just kidding. Also, pandas are real.
This is a pro moon landing podcast. We will say that probably. I'm a big NASA nerd. So anyway, so they're asking Neil Armstrong about how did you point the rocket, you know, at the moon and have such accuracy? And he said, no, that's not how it worked at all. When we were going there, we had to make burns every, say, 30 minutes or something. So it was actually more like they're constantly making adjustments. Like? That's for our audio listeners. So, you know, it was, they would call them mid-course corrections in the middle of all that. And I feel like that's so much of what life is when you take on a big challenge that you start off thinking it's a certain way, but the most important thing is just to get launched, just to take off and start moving and making those corrections. Were there any examples of anything that you had to make it, like when you were starting and as you built Golden Hour, where you had to make a big adjustment that you didn't anticipate?
Yes. There was, when we launched, the day before we launched, like to your point earlier about, you know, Neil Armstrong, like there was like, I don't know what you called it, but you said like you like you're frozen, like you're like
analysis paralysis.
Yes, that happened to me the night before our launch, and I was like crying. I'm like, I can't. I'm not cool enough anymore.
That's the devil.
I'm literally like, I'm irrelevant.
All your doubts.
Oh, that's spiritual warfare.
1,000%. And Josh was like, hey, stop talking, go to bed, and launch your business tomorrow.
That's amazing.
And I was like, do you love me? I'm like, what are you crying?
So your whole life was
like,
up
how
for
dare you? But he was just like, you've
point.
got this. Like he was like, this is what you're meant. Like he's like, you're meant to do this. He's like, don't listen to that voice. Go to bed and get to work. So I woke up and we did it. And again, because I went in and like you said, it's not straight. Immediately, I got a cease and desist.
Stop.
And
from Casey Musgraves.
I mean, it would be an honor to get one from her. I'd be like, can you sign the cease and desist?
Right?
Can you hand deliver it to me? No, it was from another company. It was very similar, same name. And so when we did our research, no one was popping up. And again, because we were on Instagram, it was very, it was similar. She was like Golden Hour something like, but either way. So I'd have my ducks in a row. I have a trademark lawyer. It was taken care of. But I was just like, we are 2 weeks in. This is really happening. See, I shouldn't have done this. And again, my husband's no, you're fine.
Yeah.
We're going to keep going. There's a solution.
Yep.
Keep going.
The adversity makes it worth it, right?
100%. And so it was big things like that. And I mean, I felt like the enemy wasted no time. Like he came from the jugular. He came in hard.
Yeah.
And my husband was just like so unfazed by it. I was a mess. And he was just like, not a big deal. What are we going to do? Like fix it.
That's so incredible.
And that was just that was the balance I needed. And so once I was there with him, I was thinking clearly. I was not in my right brain anymore. I was like, all right, I'm going to do this. We're going to take care of it. And so I think like to your, like you said earlier, that is one thing that I probably should share more is you're going to get that moment where you're frozen and you're scared because everything in the world is telling you, well, they already sell jewelry. There's already jewelry companies. There's already sock companies. There's already podcasts. We don't need another one. Don't do it. And so that would be probably something I would share was you're going to get that feeling, ignore that feeling. And I'm telling you that feeling honestly feels like a ton of bricks inside you.
Or the imposter syndrome. I think everyone in every industry deals with that.
100%.
Like, oh, well, you're a phony. I mean, look at this brand. And you hold yourself up in comparison to someone who's more established. They deserve to be there. I don't.
Yes. Yeah. It's like, well, you stopped it. And if you really wanted your jewelry line, you wouldn't have stopped. Because I was out for a year. We went through some things for a year. Like our family was going through it in a season that I was not equipped to handle that business and give it my all.
Yeah.
And so now I'm in a space, but you know what? Like I'm going to be in a new season where I still probably can't be equipped, but I know I can.
Yeah.
Like God's like, stop, I got you.
Yeah.
Like my husband's like, enough.
Yeah.
Go get we have responsibilities. Like your responsibility is to be in this space and be creative. Like go do it.
Yeah. So set your soul on fire. I mean, it's important to be able to channel that.
It's just so smooth where I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
I got this, and it's nice. And that's when you have people in your corner that pour into you. And I do have that community.
Yeah.
And which is nice because I would probably, I don't know what I've done.
I want to unpack that for a second. So you've referenced Josh several times. We would be remiss if we didn't say like your tribe is here. People are showing up for you. Let's talk about being a fire wife. I think that's so cool because one of the things that I admire about you so much is how you show up for that community of wives. Let's kind of talk about that.
I mean, so Josh and I grew up together.
I didn't know
I've known Josh since I was 7 years old.
Oh, wow.
So him and my brother were best friends. So I grew up going to baseball games. Like we've known each other forever. We always flirted, but again, like we lived separate lives. And then when we got together, his parents and my mom was like, and my dad and my mom were like, we already knew this was going to happen.
I love it.
So
they're responsible too, right? They take all the credit.
When we dated, it was kind of like I already knew everything about him, and he knew everything about me. And he was like, just so you know, like I knew he was a firefighter. So when we dated, I knew that was his job. I knew that was his vocation. Like he's not changing it.
Yeah.
And so even dating him, I was mindful of this is what it would be like. I got a little bit of a glimpse. And so once we got married, I was already adjusted to the 24 on, 48 off, and the community of wives that are, diehard, that are really supportive of their husbands, which I really do value that. The Plano Fire Wives are fantastic and they back their husbands.
Shout out to the Plano Fire Wives. Yes.
And so I do love it. And he and I think, are equally yoked because, I have that time, to recharge and do what I need to do, which is honestly not the normal. You're with your spouse every day, but in his line of work, I don't have him every day.
Right.
And so when I don't, that does give me a time to reset. But he and I are best friends at the same time, so we do talk throughout the day.
Yeah.
And like he was deployed and went to California for a month, and that was probably my hardest time.
Oh gosh. How many designer shoes did you buy during that time though?
3.
That's when you get away with it. That's
just
when you get away.
I was like, I miss you so much. I just got these Gucci slides.
Can't afford
fine. I'm
the matching set.
Yeah.
Hey, Josh, he's here in the studio. You want to pop one real quick? You want to come over here and say hi?
Oh my gosh.
Hope you shaved your legs
come over
for
and say
this
hi.
moment.
He looks like his hair's ready to go.
Yes.
So.
Thank you to our shout out to our first responders.
Come over here.
We love you.
Yeah, come right here. Say hi to your buddies in the station.
Hello.
Yeah.
So shy.
Yeah. No. We're happy you're here.
Yeah.
Thank y'all for having me.
And always supporting this one. No,
she holds down the fort when I'm gone.
There you
She's
go.
really great.
That's amazing.
Beautiful.
More shoes for you today. You get new shoes. Yes. I'm here for it. Well, I just thought that was really cool. And I think too, that speaks a lot to your mentality because it's not just the time management, right, of him being gone, but just I would be in constant fear. Like what a tough, important job that he has, right? Like, do you worry all the time?
No, I don't. That's what he signed up for. And so he's walked me through it enough. And I grew up with him, and his father was a battalion chief. So I've been around this life. But sure, it's different from dating him. Now, there are nights when he's gone from the fire station. And this is something his mom told me. I was like, this sounds crazy, but I never sleep in the bed when he's gone. I always sleep on the couch. And she's like, that's exactly what I do. And she was like, I don't know what it is, but when he's not with me, it's off only at nighttime.
Yeah.
But I mean, as far as his job, you know, I don't think I get to, because we have a little boy who thinks his dad is like a hero and is so proud of him. So I have to keep it together. Even there's times where I'm probably a little shaky if there's a huge call or, you know, if there's a standoff or whatever they've got going on. You know, we have to make sure that we keep it, you know, we keep it yellow in our house. That's like good. At all times. Yeah. And for my own mental sanity. Like if my mind doesn't need to go there.
Yeah.
His mind's already there. So he needs to make sure the home front's down.
Yeah.
And he doesn't need to be worried about me while he's out on the call.
Yeah.
So I'm just
That's a good perspective. I've never thought about it from that perspective, right? Like you're actually imploring him because you're not worried about it. So he doesn't have to worry about you. And it's just this thing. You know, I admire you so much because of your family. And I want to make sure that we have a chance to talk about your dad. One of the things that really sets National Breast Cancer Foundation apart from other charities is that we care for the whole family. So we know when a female is diagnosed with breast cancer that her entire family's been impacted. And so when we navigate her through the breast cancer journey, we're also navigating her caregiver because that's incredibly important.
I love that y'all do that.
If it's their,
so good.
Right? If it's their spouse, their mom, their friend, their daughter, whoever it may be, if they're not implored to be the best they can be, you know, we know that they're not going to be there for the patient.
Right.
And coming from the son of our founder and someone who really has just taken care of your dad, you know, I think I want to give you this one because I feel like you guys really align on that.
Well, I mean, and I know I really appreciate and respect your Instagram. What is your handle, by the way?
Tori Bradburry.
Tori Bradburry. Okay. Well, we'll have that linked for sure in the description. But on Instagram, you know, going through there, you have videos, you share that experience of caring for your dad, which I think is incredible because it's, you know, it's very vulnerable. A lot of people will hide that part of their life, their family away, or it's painful, or they, for whatever reason, they don't want to share it, and people have good reasons. But you doing that, I think, is incredibly encouraging to people that there's a way to live your life and care for people, and to kind of find some sort of balance in the middle of that and caring for loved ones. And when, you know, we were definitely, my mom and I especially were really in that situation with my dad a few years ago before he passed, where we were just, you know, taking care of him and making sure, you know, we redeemed the time and that kind of thing. But can you talk about that for a second? Like, what is your mindset on how to care for your dad and without letting that, you know, sort of exhaust you mentally, emotionally, you know, hurt your heart too much?
Honestly, it's
I know.
Yeah. Because I'll give you a second. I'm going to go back to talking about the mid-course corrections and making those sounds. No, I think for my dad, one of the things I've thought about over the years in hindsight is I'll beat myself up a little bit for just a split second of like, did I in any way ever, you know, complain or gripe that I had to go get him a Starbucks or something like that? And then you have those thoughts afterwards like, oh my gosh, every time that I ever felt bad about that, I would have gone back and gotten him 10 Starbucks.
Yeah, what I would have given. Yeah, you're very present.
So, I mean, learning that from having been with my dad, and I think we did a great job. I feel like, you know, I definitely did a good job of that, but you'll always have those regrets and doubts, I think, you know, when you're in that situation. But it really informed me a lot to focus on what matters in life, and spending time with our loved ones is the most important thing. It's nothing else in this world matters as much. No business endeavors, no meeting celebrities, all that stuff's fun, but the real joy that we have and what actually matters is our family.
Right.
So,
well, and I'm not going to cry when I say this, but like the way that we've all fallen in love with him. Like I feel like on his 94th birthday, we're all celebrating his 94th birthday. You know, we're a part of the t-shirts. Like
he's hilarious.
He's such a vibe.
Yeah, just tell us about him for a second.
Let's just talk about your dad.
I'm so sorry. I'm like,
don't be sorry.
This is what we do.
Safe space. I know.
Yes.
How old was your dad when when he passed?
He was 77.
Oh my gosh.
So
young.
yeah, for a few years there, it was pretty rough. And he had like kidney failure eventually in the end, and maybe cancer. But it was kind of we saw it coming towards the end. One of the really cool things about it was we wanted to go to Hawaii one last time. So he had to do dialysis treatment, and we rigged it up. And I remember it was just the whole thing was like a weekend at Bernie's, you know, it was like the last few, months he's alive. And he had such a great attitude. He was so funny. Like we were just
every time that
up.
music started though.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I'm dying.
We're
That's
wheeling through the
hilarious.
airport, and we got to get him over to the but we had some great meals and all that. And so we had a really amazing time. And he kind of like called his shots. He's like, I'm going out this year. I'm going to go to heaven this year. I want to, so it was so legendary how, his last few months, he was such a legendary guy, but
I love it. My mom she's such a warrior, and she's one that's been taking obviously this all on, and she's so strong. And that's why I'm like, I've maybe seen her cry once. And it's because she has such a mindset where it's like, she doesn't see what I'm seeing. She sees that he's here, and that's all she cares about. She sees that he is responding and he's talking and he has a smile on his face. She's not even concerned about the after.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm really trying to shift. The first month was very scary, and I was a mess. It was really bad. And so, because we thought, we were going to lose him.
Yeah.
And we are blessed to have him. We're doing home hospice right now. And so, Josh sat me down, because he's done this his entire life.
Yeah.
He's saved people. He's seen all sorts of stories, and he was very honest with me about what I need to look out for. And like y'all prepare everyone, not just who's going through it, but the families that are like the daughters, the uncles, the aunts, the kids. That I've been very fortunate that the nurses that are in my dad's life that are walking us through this. And it's been so nice to have that, because I don't know mentally how one prepares for this. And also too, my dad's 94. So it's more like it's me being selfish. Like, well, you said you were going to live to 100. And he's like, so it sounds outrageous. Like, he's 94 years old and he's had this beautiful life.
Yeah, what a great life.
Yes, he's done so many beautiful things. And I mean, honestly, like everyone's like, when you see your dad, like you see Jesus. I'm like, oh, 100%.
That's
like
so
he
true.
is just the sweetest man. And so for me, and Josh and I was very honest with him. I said, I don't know what it's going to look like. All I know is it can't look like this. And I gave him examples of my fears. And I think I'm doing the work now because I know what's next.
Yeah.
And so it's important that I'm facing it, and I'm going through it, and I'm feeling every feeling so I can handle it and give it the proper attention without feeling guilty for wanting to be happy. Because I felt like I had to be sad every day. I felt like, I cried every day, and my dad would not want that for me.
No.
But he and I are so close that it's like, well, he can't leave.
Yeah. Are you the only child?
No, I have a little brother.
Okay.
And then I have two older sisters.
Okay.
And so he was just, he's coherent. He's immobile. It's home hospice, and home hospice is home hospice.
Yeah, but he gets his spa days. Let's talk about his spa days.
Yes, I give him his spa
We live
days.
for those.
Yes, and I just still spoil him. I treat him as if we have not skipped a beat. And that mentally for me is helping, even though it's not about me, it is helping me appreciate the days with him. And like you said, like I don't want a day to go by and him be like, I wish I would have done something.
Yeah. Yeah, you just have to enjoy that time. And I think that, life is so much about these seasons. We were talking about that earlier about, the older I've gotten, I've realized that it's okay to be in a season where you're a little sad. It's okay to be in one where, things are happy. Like it doesn't mean that your life is out of control because you're going through a difficult season. It's just kind of like how things line up sometimes. But what is so important though is your tribe.
Yeah.
And, having your husband and having your family with you and your siblings and all that, and just really leaning on each other. And I think that is one of the beautiful things, like, that allowed me to get a lot closer to my brothers And then I lost a brother as well. And that, then, that got me closer to my other brother, Brian. And it's like one door kind of leads to something else. But what we've talked about, we've gotten into some heavy stuff here. I think that the real thing we need to talk about for a second is your style, because
such a vibe.
we lightly touched on this earlier. Ashley was just blasting my ear off about how cool your style is.
Oh my gosh.
Okay,
it's
so
the high and the low. It's
so
like,
let's talk about that for a second, all right? Because the Lord knows I'm a noted fashion critic, and right, I'm known for that.
For sure,
known for my fashion.
Yeah.
But no, if you
Follow
were
Kevin
to describe your
JCPenney.
style, JC,
I'm not knocking JCPenney. Love me some JCPenney. But
TJ Maxx.
That's fine. Yeah.
But if you were, by the way, my I just noticed my abs were hurting.
Here we go.
No, I'm serious. This is kind of funny. I noticed my abs were hurting, or just kind of like my stomach was tight for a second.
Your
or whatever.
waist trainer's too tight.
It's because you freaked me out about the chair moving. And I've been holding a crunch for like 35 minutes.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
So this is
ab workout
this
complete.
is serious training.
Your watch is like, have you started a workout?
I just
my gosh.
look over on the camera and I'm just like
You're so-
hitting the to try to get equalateral.
I've never even seen my abs. I don't even know how many abs I have. That's really impressive that that's happening to you. My favorite thing about you, Tori, is that like your style, it's such a vibe because it's whatever you're comfortable in. Like that's what I love so much. You're like, if it's not comfortable, like I'm not gonna wear it. And I think that like people really understand and appreciate that about you. To what do you attribute your style?
To comfort. I mean, like I do not want to be uncomfortable, and I'm not going to pay to be uncomfortable. Like that's silly. And so I just need to like, again, like I'm a shoe freak, so I will spend some money on some shoes, but like head to toe, other than that, like I want effortless, comfy, chic. Like I don't need to impress anybody. I don't need to be wearing anything that's going to give me back problems. Like I don't like the tight, like Josh knows I don't own one single tight dress. Like I'm like, I want to have Chick-fil-A.
Yeah,
like I want to go, if we're going to have Mexican food, I'm going to have Mexican food. I'm not like, it's just, I cannot, it's just not me.
Life's too short to be uncomfortable.
Yeah, life's too short to wear the tight dress. I'm sorry.
You have eating pants as well, because we all got the eating pants. That's what you break out.
They're called Thanksgiving
pants.
Yes.
They're called
The Thanksgiving pants
Yeah.
where there's some sort of elastic or expandable.
Do you wear maternity
apparatus.
pants as well? Is that what you're saying?
Probably.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
Before we go, I do just want to say, like, we know how busy you are. Obviously, we've talked about all the amazing things that you do and just who you are as a person, but it means so much to us that you took time to come be on the podcast. I really think that people that know you, or maybe people that are meeting you for the first time kind of in our community, are just going to be so inspired by who you are, unapologetically so.
Thank you.
You're not trying to fall in line with everybody else to cash the check. You're not trying to fall in line with everybody else to wear the waist trainer. Praise the Lord. I just think that it's the best part about you is the authenticity. And I love that you're a believer. I think it's just been so great for you to open up about the peaks and the valleys. You rarely get that. I get so sick of the rainbows and the butterflies and the filters, and you're just you. And
yeah, thanks for letting me cry. I was not expecting that today.
Oh my gosh, no. Like we literally should have our own line of waterproof mascara, because it's a thing. I mean, our job, honestly, like it can be a heavy job, right? But the whole purpose of who NBCF is at our core, and as well as this podcast, is like there's hope in all of it.
Yes,
there's enough let's just be honest here. There's enough phoniness out in the world, and social media and Instagram and all that. There's enough people pretending to be a certain thing that what we all crave is authenticity.
Yeah.
So anything where we're having real conversations, where we're talking about things that matter, I think that cuts through. I think that's the most important thing for us to be sharing and participating in. I don't have any time for that. I don't have any time for the filter stuff
and a friend
anymore.
of mine, do you follow Shop with Caroline?
I do.
Okay, so she was reaching out a lot when my dad was sick, and she called me and she was like, be as vulnerable as you need to be. And I was like, what? I don't know if they're going to accept that. And she was like, well, she cussed. She was like, who gives a, you know what? And she was like, that's your dad. And she was like, and you never know who has the same situation.
Oh, yeah.
And when I just let it all go, I was inundated by the amount of messages where people were like, I'm in the same boat. And I thought I was alone. Thank you. And so now I don't apologize, even though I apologize to Alex's podcast. But now I'm like, I'm not going to apologize for loving him and being in the season where I might cry.
It's a state of mind, right?
Yes.
It's more like I'm not going to have this apologetic nature where I'm
and I don't want it to be heavy all the time.
Yeah.
Like, and my sister used to say, you can camp here, but don't live here.
Yeah,
and I will camp here for a little bit because this is just where I'm at.
Mm-hmm.
But also like if someone meets me or I meet them and they're going through it, and they feel like they're not alone, then my job is done. That those tears that I did cry, like then they feel that they are not alone. Because most of them, there's a lot of girls that are doing the same thing. Like we're all talking about our outfits. I'm done talking about my outfits. I'm not against anyone that is, but I'm so relational that I want people to know that, hey, I'm going through this. And if you're going through it, call me. Like
so
let's
refreshing.
chat. And so that's out of my comfort zone. I'm very to myself.
Yeah.
So it has been nice to have those people say, hey, like you guys, Shop with Caroline. I mean, my tribe, like everyone's been like, let it all out. Like you have, like, don't let it, like the worst place for it to be is don't withhold it.
Yeah.
And so I'm learning that every day, which is, because who wants to see somebody cry? Like I listen to funny podcasts, inspirational podcasts. I'm done crying, but
But don't forget too, though,
turn.
when you cry, it allows us to feel that we can do that too. So I will just say that too.
Everybody takes some turn crying. That's the thing, I mean, I'm not scared
Kevin
of that
watches The
anymore.
Notebook regularly. It's fine.
Every Friday.
Yeah,
by myself.
yeah. But I mean, just those you make the walls of vulnerability. That's a really important thing, And again, that's who you are. And when you feel it and you allow other people to feel it too, it's such an important part of growth.
Yeah.
Right. So, again, I'm going to keep hyping you. Thank you for being you.
Thank you.
Before we let you go, what's next? What's next for Golden Hour? What's next for you?
I'm actually about to go back and work on our new summer line. We have a lot of product to push that we actually launched at Cowboys during ACM's first, and it was a great hit. So really more bold pieces, more turquoise, just fun things for summer, vibrant pieces, and then hopefully just to keep growing. I mean, we're going to be a year in July.
Oh my goodness!
So
wow, congratulations!
we're just going to celebrate that and just again keep learning these lessons and trying to be better than we were yesterday.
No, that's awesome. Well, thank you for spending time with us. Make sure you guys go follow Tori. We'll make sure that your lower third has your IG handle. We'll do the same thing for Golden Hour, and we're so excited for your success. We can't wait to see what's next for you.
Thank you guys for having me.
Give it up for Tori Bradburry,
Yes,
everyone.
yes.
Yay. Thank you. And Josh, thanks for coming.
Yes, thank you so much. All right, we'll see you guys on the next episode. I hope
See you
excited.
soon.